Hello, good morning. It is time 1:38, almost 1:40 in the morning. My name is Omar Brown. I am your admin for Natron Nation from the Facebook group. Today I want to talk to you about, or this morning I want to talk to you about this new plugin by Ole that's going to be fully developed and released with Natron version 2.0. And the name of that plugin is called TextOFX. So I'm going to go to the draw section. As you can see right here, the original text node that came with Natron is entitled TextOFX Input Output. But that node was very, very limited. It's just basically for overlays of basic text. And you didn't have access to randomly selecting your own fonts. But this node right here, TextOFX, we can click on that. And it brings us into this little graph here. You can tell that it's sort of different from the rest of the nodes that have been released from Frederick and Alex from NVIDIA. So I'm going to expand out this little section here. And you can see here within this particular node, we have a slew of options here. At the top, as you can see, we have like the regular channel inputs. We have the position of where the nodes can go. And as you can see here, we can also animate them in here, make a change there, and you know it automatically updates in here. Another good thing I like about this particular node, that it automatically has like a center and force center. So matter of fact, let me just go ahead and just type in here. Type in something and show you the difference here. I'm gonna put this over here. I'm going to type in one of the projects I'm basically working on called Dark Stone and Steel Entertainment. So once you finish that, you click inside here, it automatically updates inside here, inside the viewer. Now, when you come over here into the gravity section, I don't understand why it's called gravity. I guess Ole, the developer of this plugin, will eventually release a doc explaining why it's called gravity. So if we click on center, you can see right here it's centering itself in the position pointer in the middle of the text by slightly just shifting it to the left. But if we click on center forced, it automatically will center your text in the center of the viewer based upon the resolution of your setup. Right here is 1920 by 1080. So even though the pointer or the position is still here, it moves the text and force it to be here in the center of the viewer, which I find to be kind of great, especially when you're typing stuff in. It's good to have things centered, and then you can automatically use the position pointer here, or you can attach a transform node and make all your adjustments within the viewer. So let's come over here. Let me just expand this here a little bit. Now we already typed this information in. Now what was missing inside the text open effects input? Text open. It says text open open image input output. That's what that is. I'm sorry. So family fonts was missing from that particular node. So if you were to left click on this, you see here that we have everything from number 4, 6. Well, this is what's on my particular computer, because I have other software like Critter, Inkscape, and other applications that also too has their own individual proprietary fonts that it's allowed me to use them across other applications and on my Mac system. So if I go down the list, you see here that everything that falls under A, all the fonts I have under A, will pop up. B, C, so on and so forth. So I have all these particular fonts on my particular computer. I probably have close to like 500, 600 fonts, which I'm not even a art director or magazine editor. I don't know why I have all those fonts that just came with the software. So that's one of the biggest updates for me, is being able to select all the fonts that's on my computer. Now this custom font here, I haven't had a chance to really check it out. But if you can see right here in the pop-up, it says override the font list. You can use font name, file name, or direct path. I'll come back at a later date to show you the outcome or the result of typing something in there. There's another good thing here too. So this right here is the font size. Well, the good thing, it starts off with 64. This right here is your controller that allows you to decrease the size, increase the size. You have the font color here. And as you can see here too, you can animate all these things here, which is good. You can animate the color basically through a timeline. You can get that done. It looks real nice. I'm going to demonstrate this right here because this is a secret weapon for this particular plugin, and I will demonstrate that in a little bit. I just want to go over these tools here. So you have the text direction. You can have it basically right from left to right or right to left. Hopefully one day that it'll be an extension or an update where you can go from top to bottom or bottom to top. That would be nice. Here you have your individual strokes, and you have your shadows. I'm going to be demonstrating that in a little bit. Then you have your spacing of the letters and things, and then you have your canvas size. That's something new to me. Probably those who are motion graphics or those who does like print work most likely will probably find this more useful than I would at the moment. So let's hit the space bar. Now what we see here is something's going to be different from what the old text open image input output is, that with that particular node, which was go to drawer, go to this particular node. Let me copy this information, and then I'm going to paste it inside here. Now, if I was to basically and say, okay, I want this to go to input 2 so we can see what it's like. As you can see, we can't even see what is being typed or what it looks like from this basic node here on the screen. So in the previous, with this particular node here, text, open image, input, output, you had to come to image and put a solid or a constant node there. Due to the fact that text is already white, let me increase the size of this thing, go like 150. And then you had to, okay, we come down to 130. You see everything. Now on the old node, you had to put like a background or a solid or a constant node in order to see the text. But with the new node with that was developed by Ole, you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about dealing with a source in order to see the type. So that right there for me, game changer. So I'm gonna take that out. So come back to this node here again, and what I want to show you is this. If you want a particular background, the best thing to do is take, well, one way of doing it is taking a merge node, then coming in, putting like a solid from the image section, or you can use a constant. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and play with the constant, and automatically attach itself to the input. And I'm going to change this color here to blue, and as you can see, it automatically pops up. Let me just increase the size here. So what you see here, I have like the text open effects node, I have a merge node, and then the B input, I piped in a constant node with a color. And one of the good things about this particular node, constant, is different from the solid. The solid does not have an alpha channel, but the constant node does have an alpha channel, and you can make the adjustments of how you want the individual colors to overlay on your individual targets. Okay, so we have this. Let me come here, and then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type it in a larger size. Let's go to 72. You know, then I'm going to increase the size here so make it a little better. Now, let's talk about the strokes. You see here we have a white text. If you come over here, you can tell it, well, you know what? Let's go assign a color here. Let's have like a red outline or red stroke that's going to go on the outside of this text here. Now, as you can see, I typed in the color, but nothing happens. You don't see no outline or a stroke. Why? Because I told it I didn't give it a width value. So just type in 0.5 and see what happens. As you can see here slightly, increase that, you have a small, tiny little stroke line. So I'm going to type this up to 1. And the stroke line came in just a little better. Now you may not be able to see this on your particular screen, but you can see here, it got a little better. Now, one of the issues that some of the other users from other forums who knows about this particular node development, we all agree that there's an issue with the anti-aliasing of this particular text value. But that fix is already in the works. Ole is working on it with the rest of the development team, with Frederick Duvernay. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, but we all call him Fred. So I'm gonna put a merge node, go to pre-mode. And this does the pre-mode makes a little difference, but not as much, because you can still see the anti-aliasing. But if you go back, it looks a lot sharper. You can still see the white text and the red stroke. Now that we have that done, let's say right now, let's go to the shadows. Now in the shadow section here, we have opacity, we have sigma, soften, and the XY values in the color. Because we of course on a blue background, or cyan, or whatever kind of color this thing is, we can't just keep the shadow basically being black. Now what I want to do, I want to increase the opacity of this shadow. Probably be like, to say what, 50%? So you'll be able to see a little better. Matter of fact, let me increase the size here for you. And then from there, what I want to do is say, you know what, I want the X value to be like 6. And as you can see a little bit here in the background at 50% opacity, you see the shadow there. But I want also to increase the Y value. Let me just go up or down. I have typed in 10. As you can see right there, the shadows basically come in. If I want to go over a little bit more, say 10, even 10s. That's exactly what it looks like. Now, if you want to see what it's looked like with the soften, I'm going to type in 3. And I think this right here is something that they still need to work on too, because, well, not really. If your opacity is, it's a balance between your opacity and your soften, because the higher your soften, things become, the more congested it becomes towards the background text. So you just have to work with your soften, your sigma, and your opacity, giving it a nice little basic, professional shadow-based look. They don't look like much there, but if you look at it very close with the shadows there, it's cool. So you know what? Let me increase the size of this right here. Go to 130, so make it look just a little better. There we go. Now that is the shadow. So let me collapse the shadow, collapse the stroke, and then the spacing. Now here's where this reminds me of what's going on inside After Effects, because After Effects has the ability, something called like kerning, I believe what it's called, and you can kern your letters. You can see, how much spacing you want in between your letters there. You just bring it back to 0. And at the same time too, as you can see, you can animate this. Oh, as well, inside the shadows, you can animate everything. Now this guy basically really did his homework. He give us animation for everything. Then we can really explore with our creativity. At the same time too, he gives words. You can do the spacing for the words. So if I increase the words, you see that the words are getting further and further apart. Excellent. And then you have something that's called a line. You say, well, I don't have any other lines there. Well, in the first text open image input output node, every time you type something in and you try to do another line, you hit enter. For some strange reason, you was not allowed to go to the next line without causing some kind of weird character sets. So in this particular version, I can hit enter, and I'm going to type in my name. By Omar Brown. So when I click out of that, you see right here, it automatically moves that line up, and it allows you to do the extra lines of putting in other information inside your timeline. And as you can see right here, it also too keeps it centered. Now, if you come back down here to the line section right here, where everything is zeroed out at 0.0, if we were to increase that, you see that the lines increase as well. You can come to negative values as well. It's almost to the point where you can like change. Can't do it anymore because you know why? Because those individual lines is collapsing to each other, so they zeroed each other out. Not bad. So there you have it there. Oh, at the same time too, you notice when I typed in other letters on the next line, it also took on the same attributes as the first line. So you can create like a whole bunch of text that's supposed to interact differently or do different things. Then what you should do, have one node, text node do one thing, another text node do another thing, multiple things, and then you just took a group node and put them all into one particular group node, merge them together, and have one single output to keep your interface looking, your node graph looking clean and professional. Okay, so let me give you an example here of how you can do some animation, basically real quick. So I'm going to click on my S. I'm going to tell this thing, you know what? I want this to be like 100 frames. I want to lock the range. Technically, you don't have to really lock the range. I don't have to lock the range because I'm not bringing in any other kind of video information or image sequence information that have like different ranges. So it's just out of force of habit of keeping myself in mind. Say, you know what? If this sequence is going to be like 150 frames, lock it, or 100 frames, 150 frames, whatever amount of frames you need it to be. Just lock it. So anything else that you come in that have like a different frame range, it don't. Natron won't expand those particular ranges or your timeline to that input. But we know that you just inserted. Let's keep it that way. So it's frame range from 0 to 100. You know what? I'm gonna make that 30 frames. So that to make this thing here a second, make it 150 frames, and we're good with that. Close that out. Now, what I want to do here is come down to the spacing, and what I want to do is I'm going to click on the animation for the word spacing, and right now what I want to do is increase the wording, go up to like 3/10% here, go a little higher, and then I will come all the way over here to 120. And I says, you know what, from there, I want to come right back to 0. So go back to the beginning. As you can see, it's on this rendering. Now, the only thing that I've noticed about this particular node that it doesn't have a opacity. I don't know if that's even like necessary to put inside there, but it will make some things a lot easier without you have to worry about inserting another node like the merge node to do an opacity change during the course of the animation. Because sometimes you just want to put something up, have it fade in, fade out. I don't have to worry about using a whole bunch of nodes. It's pretty cool. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to save this because we still in beta, so I don't want to cause any kind of issues. So I'm going to type in demo text. Demo text. Type that in there. You can save again. Now we have all that. You can see here it animates, so on and so forth. Now, let's do some more kind of other crazy stuff here. Now, like I told you before, you have all the information here animated like that. Now, here is where the amazing thing that Ole did with this particular node. You can animate when a certain amount of words or text or words and stuff like that appears within your timeline. Now, I have it right here at the beginning. Oops, sorry. Let's go back to the beginning. And let's click on this little thing here that says set keyframe. Now, while that is happening, it's being stored there. I can come up to, like, say, you know what? Let me go to 75. And at 75, I'm going to type in something different. Animation roll. And I'm going to click on that so that it can appear. And once, you know what? Set key right there. Now, if I come to the beginning here, you see that it is not there. But once I get to 75, it appears. Like, wow. Let's come at one frame. It's not there. Come to 75. I keyframe animation roll to appear and type be right there in the screen, just at 75. And I can have it keep on going. Let me go to 100. And this time, I'm going to type in something else. Animation out. Click on that. You see we have animation out here. What I'm going to do is say set key. Now I'm going to come again to 125. And what I'm going to do now is see if I take this and delete it out like that and set key. Let's see what happens. I'm curious. Now it's rendering all that information there. Of course, you know, it's rendering the shadows, rendering the strokes, it's rendering the kerning of the spacing of the words. And as you see here, boom, something's going to pop in. Animation roll pops in. And you can see animation roll letters is also two coming together. Then we have the animation out, rolls back in. Then I did another. Deleted that part with animation roll to be taken out, and it renders out to the end. Now that you have to say that is real nice. Still a little clunky a little bit, but I believe that once this node basically has worked out all this kinks with all the other nodes that it's been developing, it will really be a real time saver when you have to do this kind of information by using other like transform nodes and all kinds of crazy nodes, put it that way. So let's stop this. And that's it for now to show a little bit of basic about that particular node. I hope what I've shown you was interesting, got your juices flowing. This is Omar Brown, the Natron Nation admin at Facebook group. You can message me once you come there, or you can subscribe to the Natron beta demos on my YouTube group. Thinking you have a good, it's 2 o'clock in the morning now. So you enjoy the rest of your morning, the rest of your day, wherever you are watching this particular demo from. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.